starting in like the second, third quarter. What did you notice about maybe the way the game turned after that first quarter?
Yeah, honestly, I feel like defensively to start, we weren't that great. They missed a few shots early. I thought in the second quarter we buckled down a little bit, but our offense was pretty good in the first quarter. I think that like masked that our defense wasn't that good, and in the second half they just were better than us. They beat us on the game plan stuff. Steph got loose a few times. Yeah, they just imposed their will on the game better than we did, and against a good team, that's what happens.
When you say beat us on the game plan stuff, what do you mean by that?
Just like the coverages, low man plays, X outs, a few miscommunications defensively. Yeah, to name a few.
Shai, obviously, 52-point night for you. How do you kind of put this in perspective with this type of scoring performance, on the heels of your previous 50-point performance, but coming in a losing effort?
Yeah, it sucks. Me personally, like I play to win, and winning winning comes first and foremost. And if I don't win, I'm not satisfied. So maybe my 52 points tonight wasn't in the best interest of the team. Whatever it is, like I'll watch the game over, see where I could have been better, and try to win the game is most important for me. So I'm not satisfied. This doesn't feel nearly as good as the other one did because of the outcome.
Dub and Mark both kind of acknowledged the human nature of, other guys on the floor almost wanting to watch the way that you were cooking in the first quarter. How do you balance when you've got a groove like that, being aggressive and you're scoring efficiently versus, also trying to make sure your guys are in the flow and you're playing kind of the typical Thunder style?
Yeah, you just try to take what the defense gives you. I think at the end of the night, that's what the game's about. That's what the winning plays are. That's what the rhythm is. Like just taking what they give you, being aggressive. And if it's to make the pass, you make the pass. And if it's to take the shot, you take the shot. And I think when all five guys are doing that, we're at our best. And that's what our identity comes down to, all of us out there being aggressive, being assertive, and taking what the game gives us. And that's when we're at our best.
Shai, obviously you come into the fourth with 43. You come in earlier than you usually would. You go 4 for 7. I just wonder, did you feel like you got the sort of shot diet within the flow of the game that you expected to, or felt like you could have in the fourth?
Oh yeah, I don't think offense. Well, offense clearly was an issue tonight, but we've been better defensively, and they scored. I feel like from like the 5-minute mark to the 3-minute mark, 2.5, like every time down. And no matter what, no matter who's shooting, what the diet is, if you don't get stops at that point in the game, it's hard to win. And obviously, when they have a really good team, really good players, it makes it harder. But we got to find a way to get stops late in the game. And if we did that, the game probably would have been completely different. But we didn't really give ourselves a chance with them scoring. Now, and they made tough shots. I'm not saying that like we gave them baskets, but it's no excuse. We have to find a way to get stops, and sometimes it's not letting them get a shot off like the NBA players. They make tough shots, and we saw that a few times late in the game. But like ultimately, there's no excuse. We got to find a way to get stops, and I don't think offense down the stretch was an issue.
Shai, because you guys through more than half the season have only lost 9 games now. Like I see you in the locker room, and it feels like, I don't know. It's different seeing you after a loss because you guys haven't lost very often. Like these days, just how do you sort of process a loss?
Yeah, it feels a lot worse. You're correct on that. When you like, I guess it starts with the expectation. Like, I've been on a team where you don't expect to win every night, and then no matter what you say, like you're not stupid. You know what the game plan is and what you're throwing out there. Like expecting to win every night is a privilege, and I think we've earned that. And I think it hurts a little bit more when we lose because of that. We have high expectations, high hopes for our basketball team, and we turn it on every night. We feel like that every night, and when we don't come on the right end of the stick, it doesn't feel good.
Anybody else?
I got one.
Last one then.
Shay, Dub was just in here acknowledging the fact that there's going to be some sort of drop off offensively, efficiency wise, when the league's leading scorer comes off the floor. I just wonder, because I don't know how much of that you can actually control, but like, what can you do in your position to sort of aid that and sort of help them cushion that blow when you leave the floor? Like, are you telling them things like what can you do from your position?
Yeah, we as long as we, like, I always hang the hat on like offensively making the right plays and being aggressive, and if we do that, the chips fall where they may, and we'll live and die with those results. So guys just making sharp decisions, the right decisions, and when I'm on the floor, making sure that those guys stay in rhythm for that when I'm off the floor, so that they still feel like they're part of the game and can be aggressive and assertive in those situations. But I don't think that's part of the issue, or has been these last couple of losses. We've had lulls in the game, and I think we've gone to both of the last two losses up at halftime, and that third quarter has really hurt us. So figuring out how to come out at halftime is probably be in our best interest, and until we get to All-Star break and we get to reset. So yeah.
Thank you, Shay. Wrap the Thunder.
Dub, just being out there on the floor, what did you feel like were kind of the deciding factors in the game? Anything besides shot making that really stood out to you?
It just outplayed us second half. It's kind of, I think when you get outplayed, you're susceptible to, good word, you're susceptible to when they make tough shots, when you're a little more comfortable, when you're in a rhythm now down the stretch. They throw some in and you got to tip your hat. That kind of starts with us just kind of locking down that second half, and I don't think we did a good job of that, and it bled into the rest of the game.
Dub, obviously,
You got a haircut?
I did.
Nice.
Appreciate it. Obviously, those second units are usually led by you and Hart, and you've had, good flashes in those units. But obviously, I imagine you expect some sort of drop off from the offense when Shai, the league's leading scorer, leaves the floor. Like, how do you sort of cushion that blow without maybe depending on defense?
Yeah, I think when somebody averages 30-something, there's just, like, mathematically there's going to be an offensive drop-off with him out of the game. So some of it is not – obviously you want to keep the score moving, otherwise you're going to lose the game. But a lot of it, too, is buckling down and getting stops. Other teams have their lineups that they're thinking of doing the same thing, like getting out there and scoring the ball, too. So a lot of it's getting stops and still trying to move the ball and get other guys involved. That second unit is usually a collective of people that haven't been in the game yet. So there's a balance of trying to get them acclimated to the game while trying to move the scoreboard, while trying to get stops. So we're going to continue to figure it out. Tonight was a little different. I went out with my hand, so the minutes were a little jumbled up, but it's basketball. That's why we have so many games to figure it out and see what works and see what doesn't. I think a lot of times because the second group is led by me, and Hart's out there, like the expectation is just for me and him to score the ball the whole time, when in actuality we're trying to get everybody involved while I'm doing my job.
And obviously, Shai, when he does enter the fourth again, which is earlier than usual, he has 43, I think, at that point. And you're going, they're trying to get you shots. Like, it felt like those first few minutes when he comes back were similar to the Utah game when he had 54. Like, what are some of the challenges in, getting your own shots, but the other guy has 40 plus and is trending toward 50?
I don't need to help Shai get points, to be completely honest with you. And I don't really think he has to help me. So I'd just be out there looking for opportunities. He's a willing passer. So it's more just like seizing the opportunity when I get the ball, and I think we have a nice little like 2-man action going on. But yeah, I don't really have to like, especially because this game was closer. The Utah game, I guess the Utah game was close too, but I think just on the road, like this one's closer. It's not like I'm like hunting for him to get 50. It's just one of those things that like he's going to be aggressive in his moments and score. I'm going to be aggressive in my moments and try and score. And it's just like playing off of each other and keeping the rest of the team involved.
I guess I just mean like, is there an urge for you to get out of his way? I guess at times, for lack of a better phrase.
Nah. I'm just reading what he's doing off. Like I said, I think because he's a willing passer, it's more just me reading what he's doing. And yeah, just being ready to score just like everybody else on the floor. I think it's kind of like the same thing. Like if I'm bringing the ball up and I've hit a couple shots, like he's still going to be in a position playing off me to where if the ball gets kicked out, like he also can go. So it's just like reading, reacting with each other and kind of just taking what the defense is giving out there.
What's going through your mind when you see the way he's going in the first quarter?
It's very impressive. Kind of just got to sit there and like, for me, it's like trying to learn how he's getting to the line, learning how he's getting to his spots. But sometimes you get kind of like, even when you're out there, it's like you kind of get caught watching because he's getting to places on the court that, especially like you play basketball and you're really watching, like he gets to places on the floor that he shouldn't be able to with how the defense is guarding him, and it's kind of just one of those things that you got to snap out of it a little bit and like not get caught watching and like be ready to be an outlet for him or cut or still like be engaged in the offense.
And I was going to ask about that because obviously there's a natural tendency when a guy's going like that, like you said, you get caught watching. How do you make sure, like you don't want to take the ball out of his hands at that point? How do you make sure, everybody's in a rhythm and it's not a thing where, hey, Shai's going and then, oh yeah, we got to help out.
Yeah, I think, well, first off, for me, it's defensively. When a guy's going like that on offense, like it's very easy to forget that you have to play defense. So I think for me, it's been more focus on, helping him out when he's going like that and make sure I'm doing the right thing on defense. And then offense, I think offense, it's like I'm just trying to be in the right position for him. And it honestly, like the way he's going, it spreads the defense out to the point where like I can get to my spots too. And yeah, I think that's just like one of the easier things. Like I don't think it hurts anything that's going on. I think if anything, it just makes it easier for me to figure out where I need to be at on the floor, and it gets me open shots. And him being a willing passer makes it easier for me to score and everybody else.
And what happened with your hand?
Looney ran me over, and I think I fell weird, and I got the foul, which was very interesting. But yeah, that play, I don't remember. I didn't look at the video, but I think that play, I think I just like tried to just brace and mess my hand up a little bit.
Anybody else? I'll go you all again.
Dub, sort of like bigger picture, but I guess tying into the conversation of your expectations in that second unit, I guess, especially with Chet out and just sort of the trajectory of this team, it feels like people have these very large expectations for you as a scorer and generally as a player. I guess how have you sort of kept perspective knowing that you're in your third year but sort of had those expectations?
Yeah, expectations are good. I think the inverse of that is like nobody expects anything from you, and then that kind of sucks. So I take it as a blessing. I'm not really worried about what other people expect from me. Like I have a lot of the perspective. Like I know I'm in my third year. So it's one of those things that like I'm constantly searching how to get better and how to evolve as a player. And I always say in like our exit meetings, everything else, I want to look back on the year and look about like how much better did I get each game and how much better I get throughout the year. So I think I do a good job at keeping perspective of it. I don't really care about a lot of the outside noise that's going on, and just continuing to do that. Like I have my own perspective. I think my teammates instill confidence in me with my coaches, so it doesn't really bother me at all.
You can go last one right here. Front.
When you have a game that Shai had, and unfortunately you guys aren't able to win, is there additional disappointment in an end result like that?
Yeah, I think for me, yeah. I think it's just like offensively he did so much, so yeah, I think it's probably more of a Shai question just as far as like his individual. Not to dismiss your question, but I think it's just more of like for me, I feel it a little bit. I think more just the fact that we lost, and there's like so many other things in a game that we can control that we didn't do a good job of. I think that's more disappointing. But I think from Shai's lens, and I don't want to speak for him, but that probably is a little more disappointing. But he's such a competitor too. I think he's going to have close to the same answer where it's like just down the stretch, if we can be better, we win the game. So
Thank you, Dustin.
That allowed Golden State to get some traction in that second quarter. Game seemed to just turn from a momentum standpoint there.
I thought they missed some really good shots early. I actually thought we defended them better later in the game and later in the first half. We didn't defend them great early, and they had a hard time making shots, so it's kind of a weird game in that sense. But they played really well tonight. Both ends of the floor, they were really physical. And then on the offensive end, they obviously had a good shot-making night. Once after they got out of the first quarter and deserved to win, they outplayed us.
On the offensive side, it seemed like the normal flow ball movement wasn't quite there for you guys in the second half. Anything you noticed in that regard as steps moving forward?
We'll see. Let me look at it. I think, I thought we made some nice plays that we didn't complete. I thought we generated some decent shots at times. And then there were other ones where I agree with you. We weren't quite as sharp. I thought their pressure bothered us a little bit tonight. We just didn't have the force necessary to combat that on certain possessions. But I thought there was a shot-making element to the game as well, which is a single-game thing. So we'll evaluate it and learn what we can from it and keep it moving.
Mark, I don't want to assume anything. So you put Shai in earlier than usual in the fourth. I guess what went into that decision?
Just how he was going tonight. We are coming off 2 straight days off. Not off, but I mean, we haven't played in 2 days, and we don't play in 2 more days after this. So if there's a time to run a little harder in terms of minutes, now's the time to do it. I mean, we do it selectively at times anyways, but I just thought between the context of the schedule, the way he had it going, I just decided to go early.
And it just felt like, I mean, obviously you finished with 52. It felt like he was just constantly getting to the line, constantly getting to his spots. When he re-enters in the fourth quarter, I don't think he puts up a shot for, 3+ minutes. Do you feel like by the end of the quarter he gets the shot diet you would have liked, that you would have expected?
Yeah, I mean, he's so good at finding it in the flow. I think the first quarter was a great example of that. It's not like we're pushing a ton of buttons for him. So, he's striking a balance of attacking, moving it to his teammates, allowing his teammates to create on certain possessions, and he kind of self-regulates on that. So I didn't think it was anything they were doing. I thought he had just come back in the game. He was letting Dub create a little bit. Dub had a couple good possessions there, but I obviously thought he got enough tonight on his plate.
And we've talked about the lineups, like as far as the offense when he leaves the floor. Obviously, those lineups still outscore their opponents by maybe like a point plus. But when you have stretches like maybe what you saw in the second quarter, I guess, are there ways to sort of, obviously he's the league leading scorer, but are there ways to sort of cushion the offensive drop-off without, relying on defense maybe?
I think that's context dependent. There's been 10+ fourth quarters this season that he hasn't played, and those minutes where we're up by 30 are being counted for lineups without him on the court. I think if you isolate lineups with Dub and Hartenstein on the floor and him off, they're actually very good, both offensively and defensively. So, in terms of like what we're building in terms of our team, we feel pretty good about those lineups, and they've trended well lately as well. So I would push back a little bit on that stat. I think it's context dependent.
When Shai gets cooking like he did in the first quarter especially, how do you combat kind of the natural tendency for his teammates almost to want to watch?
Encouraging them and him to continue to be him continue to be aggressive in passing, them to continue to be aggressive in terms of their offense, taking their shots, attacking. I thought at the end of it, might have been the end of the first half, but I thought there was a stretch of time in like the last minute. He found 2 straight threes for us on sprays. And I thought to start the third quarter, he came out of halftime despite having 30 at halftime. He came out and was spraying it early and generating some good shots for us. So I do agree with you. There's probably a tendency in those situations where he's just humming. But we also have an identity as a team. We have a bunch of guys that have confidence. We have to be that team regardless of context, whether he's having an off night, which doesn't happen often, or whether he's having a night like tonight.
And when you look at the last 3 quarters, obviously not efficient offensive basketball. What do you attribute that to? Is it just shot making, or what did you see from your group offensively in those last few quarters?
I don't like bailing out and always blaming it on shot making. We'll look at the shot quality. There's some where you just got to say, hey, that's the best shot you can get, and you missed it. I thought generally overall, even in the first half, we could have broken harder for the ball on some plays, played with more force even off the ball. I thought they were really trying to jam us up, pressure, blowout screens, stuff like that. So I thought there was stuff we could control from an execution standpoint that could have been better, and we'll learn from that. And then there's other possessions where you generate a good shot that you'll take 10 out of 10 times, and those ones you just got to, tip your, it's just part of the game.
Coach, I know this is a team that has some great players and a great legacy, but they've been a relatively middling team these last couple of years. You guys have had this historically great defense, but you guys have played some great games during these last couple of seasons. Is there something about their approach where they, for lack of a better term, punch above their weight against you guys with how you guys play defense specifically?
I don't know. It's a better question for Steve because he watches his team every night. I don't watch his team every night. I know I have tremendous respect for them as an opponent, in terms of how they've played against us and also what they're capable of. We always try to prepare for the other team's best, even if their record doesn't suggest that or anything. And when you prepare for their best, they're a really good team. And we have tremendous respect for them. We know that if you win a game against them, you have to earn it, and they earned the win tonight. All right, thank you.